Hello students, I am Arpit Gupta from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group Kota. Hope you all are well at your home. Before starting this chapter, I would like to request all the students to keep your book and notes along with you so that you can mark your queries. So students, we are going to start the second part of our fifth chapter, that is organizing. In this particular part, we are going to study the following topics, that is the meaning of organizational structure, advantages and disadvantages of organizational structure, delegation of authority, decentralization, centralization, importance of decentralization, and difference between delegation and decentralization. So students, firstly, we understand the meaning of organizational structure. As we have already studied that organizational structure is basically divided into three types, that is the top management, the middle level management and the lower level management. The work of the top management is generally to give the instructions to the lower management, to do the planning of the organization and to set the objectives of an organization. Next, here comes the middle level management. Middle level management generally receives the instructions from the top management, perform the task according to the instruction received by the top management, and also gives the instruction to lower level management. We have studied that the lower management includes the employees and the workers of an organization, who is generally responsible for execution of the activities. So let us understand with the definition. Meaning of the organizational structure. It seeks to establish relations among all the persons working in the organization. Relationship means the relationship between the top management, the middle management and the lower level management. Under the organizational structure, various posts are created to perform different activities for attainment of the objectives of the organization. Generally student, we have studied in the part 1 that the organization activity is divided under the departments and each department is having his own head. So why we are dividing these into departments? So that each department is responsible for performing his or her activity and we can easily achieve the objectives of an organization. So students, we can see the organizational structure in this picture. Firstly, we cover the head of the organization, which includes the company owner or CEO. Next comes the middle level management, that is the manager of an organization, and at the last comes the lower level management or the supervisory level management. Now, let us understand the organizational structure. The organizational structure can be defined as a framework within which the managerial and operational tasks are performed. Generally, the organizational structure is formed for performing the business or the organizational activities. Here, each manager or the operating manager is responsible for his or her task. If we divide the organizational structure, we can divide it into functional structure or the divisional structure. The functional structure generally includes or groups the activities or department created on the basis of specific functions to be performed. Generally, all the functions of the organizations are divided under different departments. For example, all the jobs related to the productions are grouped under the production department and all the jobs related to the sales are categorized under the sales department. So here we have understand that all the activities are grouped or divided as per the departments. Here students, we can see that the managing director has divided into 4 types, that is personnel, marketing, research and development and purchasing. What we have done? We have divided the organization according to the functions. That is, the personnel is responsible for performing the activities in the organization. Marketing is responsible for collecting the data from the consumers so that the demand or the needs of the consumers can be identified. Next, research and development. Here, the organization do researches that the particular commodity can be manufactured or not, how much cost a firm has to incur for producing that type of goods, and finally the purchasing department. Purchasing department is responsible for purchasing the raw material so that the final goods can be manufactured. Now, what are the advantages of organizational structure? First is specialization. Students, as we have already studied that if we categorize the organization as per the department, then the better decisions can be taken, which results in specialization of the function and its consequent benefits. What happens if we divide the activities according to the departments? Each department perform his objectives very well because he know how to perform the activities, and the ultimately objectives of the organization can be achieved. Now, coordination is established. All the person working within the departmental are specialists in their respective jobs. It makes the coordination easier in departmental level. Now students, we have categorized all the activities according to the departments, and each department is coordinating with each and every individual of his department and the other departments also. So the flow of information can be done very smoothly and the required data can be gathered within a short span of time. Now, helps in increasing the managerial efficiency. Student, as we know, if we divide the work according to the capabilities, now each individual knows his or her duty. The work is categorized as per the task given to an individual. So, managers of the one department are performing same types of functions again and again, which makes them specialized and improve their efficiency. Students, if we perform a similar activity again and again, then we get specializations in that particular activity. Now we can easily perform that task very effectively and efficiently. तो स्टूडेंट्स होगा क्या कि जो भी हमारी एफिशिएंसी है वो क्या हो जाएगी, इंक्रीज हो जाएगी, कोई डाउट्स नहीं रहेंगे, कोई कंफ्यूजन्स नहीं रहेंगे, और जो भी काम होगा वो एकदम परफेक्टली कंप्लीट हो जाएगा. मिनिमाइजेस द कॉस्ट. It leads to minimum duplication of efforts, which results in economies of scale and thus lowers the cost. So students, we have divided the task as per the specialization of the organization. Now what happens, each individual is busy in performing his or her activity only. Now the duplication of work, that is the more peoples are involved previously in doing similar type of activity, has been resolved. The problem we have resolved by categorizing or by dividing the activities. Now, along with some advantages, the organizational structure or the process of organizational structure has following demerits or disadvantages. First, ignorance of the organizational objectives. Generally, when we divide the work according to the department, each department is engaged in performing his or her activity only. He do not have any connection or any relation with the overall organizational objectives. उसको मतलब ही नहीं होता कि मेरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल का ऑब्जेक्टिव होगा क्या, मुझे बस मेरी डिपार्टमेंट का ऑब्जेक्टिव पूरा हो जाना चाहिए और बाकी डिपार्टमेंट या बाकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का ऑब्जेक्टिव्स पूरा हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा, उस पर्टिकुलर डिपार्टमेंट को उससे कोई भी मतलब नहीं होता. Difficulty in interdepartmental coordinations. Generally what happens, the department is busy in performing his or her activity, so there is no coordination between the two departments of the organization. The data generally do not flows from one department to the other department. Now let us understand with an example. If our organization is having two departments, that is marketing department and the production department. Now it is the duty of the marketing department to provide the information to the production department for manufacturing or production of the goods. Now what happens if marketing department do not provide such information to the production department? Production department will unable to perform its activities until and unless it will receives the instructions or the data from the marketing department. So in the departmentalization, it is very much important to flow the information from one department to other. Now hurdle in the complete development. Generally in an organization, each department specializes in his own function and only works for his own goals rather than working for the overall objective of the organization. As students, we have already studied that in departmentalization process, each and every individual is doing his activity. He has no relation with the other person objective, whether they are completed or not. Whether the organizational objective has been completed or not, he is just busy in doing his activity only. So this is the biggest disadvantage of organizational structure. Now let's talk about the second type, that is the divisional structure. Here we divide the organization according to the products or the things which are manufactured by the particular organization. Dividing the whole enterprises according to the major products to be manufactured like metal, plastic, cosmetics, etc. is known as divisional organizational structure. इस पर्टिकुलर टाइप में हम लोग करते क्या हैं, हम लोग प्रोडक्ट के अकॉर्डिंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को डिवाइड करते हैं. देखिए जैसे इस पिक्चर में दिखाया हुआ है, हमने क्या किया, जो मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर था उसने एक ने डिपार्टमेंट्स को प्रोडक्ट वाइज डिवाइड कर दिया, जैसे कॉस्मेटिक्स, गारमेंट्स, फुटवेयर एंड स्किन केयर. ये वो सारे प्रोडक्ट्स हैं जो एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मैन्युफैक्चर कर रहे हैं. फर्दर हमने क्या किया, जो पर्टिकुलर डिवाइड हमने किया था, जो डिवीजन हमने किया था, उसको फर्दर डिवाइड किया गया पर्सनल, मार्केटिंग, रिसर्च एंड परचेज. नाउ व्हाट इज द बेनिफिट ऑफ दिस डिवीजन? Here now the research and development department of the garment division is only working for the garment sector. He is not having any relation or connection with the cosmetics, footwear or the skin care. So it is the good advantage of the organizational structure that each person is doing the research for his or her department. Now what are the advantages? Firstly, quick decision making. If each and every individual is responsible for his or her activity, then the decision taken are very rapid and quick. See, division manager can take any decision regarding his division independently, which makes decision quick and effective. Now each person is given the authority to take his or her decisions, so he do not have to go again and again to his superiors for asking each and every task. So with the help of this, the decisions taken are very quick and effective. Divisional results can be accessed. Now division result, that is profit and loss, can be assessed easily. On the basis of unprofitable divisions can be closed. Now students, what happened if we have categorized our organization according to the departments or according to the products? Suppose we have studied that the organization is divided into cosmetics, garments, footwears. Now my footwear department is not giving me any revenue or it is giving me loss, so it is very beneficial or very good step for me to close down that department. अगर मैं उस डिपार्टमेंट को क्लोज कर दूंगा तो क्या होगा, मेरे लिए एक बेनिफिट हो जाएगा कि मेरे जो बाकी के डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं मैं उन पे फोकस कर पाऊंगा, और जिससे डिपार्टमेंट से मेरे को प्रॉफिट नहीं हो रहा था वो डिपार्टमेंट में क्या कर दूंगा, क्लोज कर दूंगा. ग्रोथ एंड एक्सपेंशन. It facilitates growth and expansion as new divisions can be added without disturbing the existing departments. Now what happens if we categorize the things into the departments, then we can expand our business by establishing the new departments. By establishing new departments, we can further expand our business without disturbing any existing departments of the organization. Now what are the disadvantages? Conflicts among different divisions on the allocation of resources. Now let us talk about the resources, that is basically the money. Each department wants a sufficient resources available within. Now if organization want to divide the resources, there is always a conflict between the departments with the resources available. Next, duplicacy of function. Entire set of function is required for all the divisions. It gives rise to duplicacy of efforts among the divisions and increasing the cost. देखिए स्टूडेंट्स, हमने पहले बात करी थी कि हमने क्या किया, डिवीजन किया अकॉर्डिंग टू द प्रोडक्ट्स. अब हर प्रोडक्ट के लिए मेरे को अलग रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट डिपार्टमेंट बनाना पड़ेगा, हर डिवीजन के लिए मेरे को अलग परचेजिंग डिपार्टमेंट चाहिए, हर डिवीजन के लिए मेरे को अलग मार्केटिंग डिपार्टमेंट चाहिए. तो उसके लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा, मेरे को अलग अलग लोगों को अपॉइंट करना पड़ेगा, और उसी अपॉइंटमेंट की वजह से मेरे लिए क्या हो जाएगा, मेरी ओवरऑल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की कॉस्ट जो है वो क्या हो जाएगी, इंक्रीज हो जाएगी. सेल्फ selfish attitude. Now, every division tries to display better performance and sometimes even at the cost of the other divisions, they show their selfish attitude. Now, what happens, students? When we have categorized the departments of the organization, each department is responsible for performing his task. So, they work according to their selfish attitude. They just want to do their activities, they just want to perform their activities and they have no relation and no connection with the other departments. तो होगा क्या कि हर लोग अपने ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को अचीव करने की कोशिश करेंगे, दूसरे पर्सन का ऑब्जेक्टिव पूरा हो रहा है नहीं हो रहा, इससे उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के डिपार्टमेंट को कोई भी मतलब नहीं होगा. Now, let us understand the very important topic, that is the delegation of authority. Let's have a look on its meaning. It means the granting of authority to the subordinates to operate within the prescribed limits. The manager who delegates the authority holds its subordinates responsible for the performance of the assigned task. Now, in the delegations, the task is given to the subordinates. The subordinate is ultimately responsible for performing the task, and if the task is not completed on the time, that subordinate will be held responsible for not performing the task on the time. अगर टास्क किसी भी वजह से कंप्लीट नहीं हो पाता है तो इस केस में सुपीरियर की कोई भी लायबिलिटी नहीं होगी. जो सबऑर्डिनेट उस टास्क को परफॉर्म कर रहा था वही अल्टीमेटली आंसरेबल होगा उस पर्टिकुलर टास्क के लिए. ओके, सो स्टूडेंट्स, वी कैन सी दिस विद द पिक्चर हियर. द बॉस, as we know, the boss is having the ultimate authority, he can take any decisions. The boss or the head of the department can further be classified into the managers which are working in the organization, and then comes the subordinates who is ultimately responsible for performing the task. Now, authority and responsibility. As we know, authority moves downward, the top management is having highest authority and the lowermost personnel of the organization is having very minimum authority. And if we talk about the responsibility of the lower divisions or the supervisory level is unlimited. He is having the highest responsibility of performing the duties, and the top management is having the lowest responsibility of performing the task because he has already delegated his task to the subordinates. Now, let us understand the process or elements of delegation. Authority, the power to take decisions in order to guide the activities of the other. Generally, authority means the right or the capacity of taking the decisions. जनरली अथॉरिटी में होता क्या है, हम सारे डिसीजंस लेते हैं और वो डिसीजंस किसको दिए जाते हैं, सबऑर्डिनेट लेवल को ट्रांसफर किए जाते हैं. रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, it is the obligation of the subordinate to properly perform the assigned duty. Now, responsibility, as we have already talked that the responsibility means the duty of performing the task. रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी में क्या होता है, जो सबऑर्डिनेट्स को टास्क दिए गए हैं वो टास्क उसको टाइम पे कंप्लीट करने पड़ेंगे, ये उसकी ड्यूटी होती है. When a superior issues the order, it becomes the responsibility of the subordinate to carry it out. Once the order has been received by the top management or the high level management, it becomes the duty of the subordinate to complete the task within the given span of time. Accountability, when a superior assigns some work to the subordinate, he is answerable to the superior for its success or failure. Students, as we have already studied about the accountability, whoever is responsible for performing the task is responsible for its accountability or answerability. मीन्स जिस पर्सन को वो काम करने के लिए दिया गया है अल्टीमेटली उसी को आंसर देना पड़ेगा. वो टास्क अगर नहीं हो पाता है तो उस पर्टिकुलर चीज के कंप्लीशन और नॉन कंप्लीशन की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी और आंसरेबिलिटी किसके पास होती है, जिस सुपीरियर को ने वो टास्क दिया एक पर्टिकुलर पर्सन को कंप्लीट करने के लिए. नाउ स्टूडेंट, here comes the very important topic, that is the principle of absoluteness of accountability. Authority can be delegated but the responsibility or accountability cannot be delegated by the manager. Okay students, now what happened, हमने क्या किया, अथॉरिटी तो दे दी किसी को काम करने की कि आप हमारे बिहाफ पे वो काम परफॉर्म कर लीजिए, लेकिन अल्टीमेटली जो कंपनी के मैनेजर, कंपनी के ओनर्स हैं, उनको आंसर कौन करेगा, जो अल्टीमेटली रिस्पॉन्सिबल था. इसको हम ऐसे समझ सकते हैं, फॉर एग्जाम्पल कंपनी के ओनर ने मैनेजर्स को काम करने के लिए दिया, बिकॉज मैनेजर्स बहुत ज़्यादा ओवरबर्डन थे, उन्होंने वो काम किसको दे दिया, कंपनी के लोअर लेवल्स को। लोअर लेवल वो काम को परफॉर्म नहीं कर पाया या उसमें कुछ गलती रह गई, तो अल्टीमेटली वो मैनेजर की लायबिलिटी होगी किसको, बॉस को आंसर करने की। तो जिस पर्सन का अल्टीमेटली काम करने की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी थी उसी को आंसर देना पड़ेगा। द मैनेजर कैन नॉट एस्केप द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फॉर एनी डिफॉल्ट और मिस्टेक ऑन द पार्ट ऑफ हिज सबॉर्डिनेट्स। जनरली मैनेजर कभी भी ऐसा नहीं कह सकता कि ये टास्क मैंने अपने सबॉर्डिनेट से करवाया है तो मैं इसके लिए आंसरेबल नहीं हूं। अल्टीमेटली ही विल बी answerable and responsible for the particular task. Now let us understand with an example. If the chief executive asks marketing manager to achieve the sales target of the sales of 100 units per day, now the task has been given for performing this particular sales. Now the person who is receiving the task is ultimately responsible for achieving the goal. Now let us understand the process of delegation of authority. Here we can see in the picture, first there is assignment of responsibility, हमने उस person को काम करने की responsibility दी, then we have granted the authority, we have given the authority to the subordinates that you can perform the task, then fixing the accountability, then who is responsible or answerable we will fix finally. Now let us understand the difference between authority, responsibility and accountability. Meaning, in authority there is right to command. Generally in authority all the head of the organizations are included, so they can give the command to the superior or to the subordinate level. Responsibility, it is an obligation to perform the assigned task. What is the responsibility? Whatever task has been given by the superior to the subordinate, it is his responsibility to perform the task. Accountability, accountability for the outcome of the assigned task. Now what is accountability? Means that personnel to whom the task has been given is finally responsible or finally accountable for the task given to him. Origin arises from formal positions. Generally there is a separate chain for the flow of information. The information flowed from the top management, it comes to the middle level management and ultimately comes to the lower level management. Arises from the delegation of authority. Generally the task to whom it has been authorized or delegated is ultimately responsible, and this is arises from the responsibility. Generally the person who is doing the task is ultimately responsible for performing the duty. Flow downward from superior to the subordinates. As we know, all the orders we receive from the top management, so the direction will be from downward direction, that is from the top level management to the lower level management. Upward from the subordinate to the superior. Generally the responsibility moves from the subordinate to the superior. Subordinates are responsible for performing the task and ultimately intimate to the ultimate superiors. This also moves upward from subordinate to superior, that is the person who is responsible for performing the task is ultimately responsible or accountable for that particular activity. Withdrawal can be withdrawn anytime by giving the notice. Okay, the order which has been given by the top management can be withdrawn without any prior permission of any individual, because he is the ultimate boss and he is allowed or he is having the power or authority to change his decision any time. Cannot be withdrawn once created. Generally if we have given the responsibility to any individual, we cannot remove that responsibility which has already been given. Accountability cannot be withdrawn once created. Same, because we cannot remove the responsibility, then accountability can also be not withdrawn. Now let us understand the next topic, that is the importance of delegation of authority. Reduction of the executive's workload. It reduces the workload of the officers. They can thus utilize their time in more important and creative works instead of work of daily routine. See students, we have delegated the task of routine work to our subordinates. Now they are responsible for performing the daily task. Now meanwhile the superior can engage themselves with the important decisions which are beneficial or fruitful for the organization. They get more time to take the decisions which are important for the organization. Employee development. Employees get more opportunities to utilize their talent, which allows them to develop those skills which will enable them to perform the complex task. जनरली स्टूडेंट्स होगा क्या कि जो भी टास्क हमने एम्प्लॉय को दे दिया, अब एम्प्लॉय उसको परफॉर्म कर रहा है तो वो अपनी नए टैलेंट को उसमें यूज कर सकता है उस टास्क को जल्दी से जल्दी कंप्लीट करने के लिए, क्योंकि सबऑर्डिनेट्स के पास अथॉरिटी भी है, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी है, तो वो काम इजीली परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं। और जो हमारे सुपीरियर्स हैं वो लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, वो अब ऐसी एक्टिविटी में इन्वॉल्व हो रहे हैं जो कंपनी के लिए बेनिफिशियल हो रहा है, जो कंपनी के लिए लेना इंपॉर्टेंट है, जो डिसीजंस कंपनी के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है, हमने क्या किया, सुपीरियर लेवल को उसमें इन्वॉल्व कर दिया। सो स्टूडेंट्स, लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड टू द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक, quick and better decision possible. The subordinates are granted sufficient authority, so they need to go to their superiors for taking the decisions concerning the routine matters. Now students, we have given the task to the subordinates, we have given the authority to the subordinates, so they do not have to go to the superiors again and again for asking the task they are performing. वो अपनी इच्छा से काम को परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं क्योंकि अथॉरिटी उनको ऑलरेडी गिवन है। High morale of the subordinates. Because of the delegation of authority to the subordinates, they get the opportunity to display their efficiency and capacity. Generally, we have given the task to the subordinates. Now, they are feeling good that the organization is giving them work to perform, means they are representing the organization. So, they give their best in performing the task very effectively and efficiently. Better coordination. The elements of delegation, authority, responsibility and accountability help to define the power and duty and answer the ability related to various job positions, which results in developing and maintaining the effective coordinations. Generally, if we have given the delegations and authority to the superiors and subordinates, and we have already given the accountability to the subordinates, then various job positions can easily be done. How? We can diversify the organizations, we can give the powers to the subordinates so that they can do the activities very effectively on the time. Now, let us understand the meaning of the definitions with the help of definitions, the decentralizations given by the Lewis Allen. Decentralization refers to systematic effort to delegate to the lowest level all the authority except that which can exercise at the central ends. Generally, in decentralizations, we give the powers to the subordinates to take the decisions. Only the major decisions which are to be taken by the top managements are not delegated to the subordinates. Rest all the daily activities and all the tasks are given to the subordinates. They can take the decisions according to their will and perform the activity. Now, what is decentralization? Decentralization of authority means disposal of authority to take the decisions throughout the organizations up to the lower level. Now, in decentralization, we have given the authority to the subordinates. They are performing the task according to their own will and according to the authority given to them. It implies reservation of some authority with the top level management and transferring rest of the authority to the lower level of the organization. जनरली ऐसे टास्क जो कंपनी के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, जो कंपनी की रेपुटेशंस, कंपनी के सेल्स, कंपनी के प्रॉफिट को इफेक्ट कर सकते हैं, सिर्फ वही डिसीजंस किसके पास होते हैं, टॉप मैनेजमेंट के पास होते हैं। रेस्ट सारे डिसीजंस इसको दे दिए जाते हैं, सबऑर्डिनेट लेवल पे ट्रांसफर कर दिए जाते हैं। सबऑर्डिनेट जो एम्प्लॉयज होते हैं हमारे, वो अपने हिसाब से उस टास्क को परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं, उनको पावर दे दी जाती है। नाउ, as we have already studied that the centralization means authority retained at the top level. In centralizations, all the decisions are taken by the top management, whether they are of important nature or of the regular nature, and the subordinate has to just perform their activities according to the instructions received from the top management. But in the decentralizations, we give the authority to the subordinate level. They take the decisions according to their will. They cannot receives the order from the top management. As the authority is already available with them, they can directly proceed with the action. In decentralized form, top management retains the authority of the following policies and decisions which related to the whole firms. Generally, in decentralized organizations, only policies are framed by the top management, overall control and coordinations, and the top management just keep the control on the overall activities of the organization. Rest all the decisions are taken by the subordinate members. Middle and lower level management have an authority to take the decisions which relate to tasks allocated to them, and the middle level management is involved in the task which is given or allocated or delegated to them. So student, as we can see, there are two forms of organization shown over here. First one is centralized and another one is decentralized. As we can see, in centralized form of organization, the command or the order is received by the top management and subordinate has to follow the same instructions. They generally do not coordinate or communicate with each other. The instruction is received by the top management and finally the submission is given to the top management. Similarly, if we compare this with decentralized form of organization, there is a freedom which is given to the subordinates. They can communicate with each other, they can control the command, the authority given to them, or they can work according to the directions given to them. So in decentralized form of organization, there is more freedom amongst the employees. So let us now study the importance of decentralization. First, it develops the initiatives among the subordinates, which means it helps to promote the confidence because the subordinates are given freedom to take their own decisions. Students, as we have already studied that in decentralized form of organization, there is more freedom which is given to the subordinates. They can work according to their authority and responsibility given to them. So they do not have to communicate for each and every task to their superiors. Next, quick and better decisions. Students, as we know, if we give authority to the subordinates, they can take decisions on their own. They do not have to take the permissions of their superiors, so the decisions will be taken comparatively very quick. So the burden of the managerial decisions does not lie in the hands of few individuals, but get divided among the various persons. The various persons, we are talking about the subordinates. Divided among the various persons which help them to take the better and quick decisions. So in decentralized form of organizations, generally the subordinates take the quick decisions because they do not have to communicate again and again with their superiors. Now, release the top executive from the excess workload. Students, as we have already talked that the daily routine work is delegated or given to the subordinates. So for daily functioning, they do not have to communicate with the superiors. They can take decisions on their own. So the daily and managerial works are assigned to the subordinates, which leaves enough time with the superiors which they can utilize for developing the new strategies. So in decentralized form of organizations, superiors will take the important decisions which are for the goal oriented of the organization. They can work for the profit maximization, and daily routine is generally delegated to the subordinates. Okay. Next, managerial development. It means giving authority to the subordinates up to the lower level to take the decisions regarding their work. In this way, the opportunity to take decisions help in development of the organizations. Generally, students, in the decentralized form of organization, employees faces or meet the new challenges. They perform the task according to their own way, according to their own procedures and strategies. So it gives them a new process, a new development in the organizations. Now employees become more sufficient and self-capable to take the decisions. Better control. It makes the process possible to evaluate the performance of each level, which results in complete control over the activities. Now what happens, students? The promotion of the organization depends on the decentralized process. The employees who is performing his duties very well gets promoted, and the employees who is not doing the work are eliminated or removed from the organization. Now let us understand the difference between the delegation and the decentralization. Generally, in delegation, it is a compulsory act, means it is mandatory to delegate the command or the instructions to the subordinates. In decentralization, it is an optional policy. That means it is on the top management whether they want to keep the centralized procedure or the decentralized procedure. Freedom of action. Less freedom to take the decision due to more control by the superiors. Generally, in delegations, there is all the commands are given by the superiors. So it is in the hand of the superior whether they want to delegate their authority or not. But in decentralized form of organizations, more freedom of action due to less control on the top management. As a student, we have already talked that the top management takes decisions in the centralized organizations, but in decentralized, the authority is given to the subordinates. They can take the decisions according to their own way, according to their own will. So in decentralization, more freedom is given to the subordinates. Status. It is a process of sharing task and authority. Generally in delegations, we share the task with the subordinates. We give the authority to the subordinates and they work according to the power given to them. But in decentralization, it is wide. It includes extension of delegations all the levels of the management. According to the capability and capacity of an individuals, the task is delegated to the subordinate level and they will perform the activities, the task which is given to them. Now scope, narrow, as it is confined to the superiors and has immediate and subordinates, which means that in delegation there is very narrow authority which is given to the subordinates, and in the decentralizations to increase the role of the autonomy or the lower level of the management. Generally in decentralized form of organizations, more authority is given to the subordinates. They can do the work according to their will, according to the authority. So with this, till then, goodbye, take care and have a nice day.